Hi, Niklas. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Danielle.
Yeah, it's really great to have you here. Where are you coming to us from in Denmark?
I'm in Copenhagen at the moment, so the capital.
Yes. Were you born there or were you born elsewhere in Denmark?
I'm actually from Copenhagen, but I
Yes,
have lived abroad for years in the past because of swimming, and now I'm back, and it feels right.
it feels good to be there. Yeah.
Hmm.
Australia have a bit of a link to Denmark with Princess Mary.
That's true. That's very
Yeah.
true. Very happy
Yeah.
for her. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's lovely, isn't she?
She definitely is. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
learned Danish very, very fast. I remember. She's so good at it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
difficult language to learn.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, I think she even speaks English with a Danish accent now.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very, yeah.
amazing. So you have been a professional swimmer in Denmark and now a successful entrepreneur. Could you share with us some of your most memorable moments from your swimming career? And then we'll start talking about your entrepreneurial career as well.
Of course, yeah. I think most swimmers that have had a professional pool swimming career would say that a lot of the most memorable um, things that you have accomplished has been with your team. Right? It's for me is when I think back, it's about the team aspect of it, all the friends that I've made over the years. But if we talk about strictly swimming accomplishments, I had a couple of national records here in Denmark, national champion. Um, 30 plus times, something like that. And I've been to European Championships twice, which was probably the biggest competitions that I ever entered. And that was so much fun. And they were in front of the home crowd. That year it happened to be in Copenhagen, actually. So they refitted a stadium or a multi-purpose arena into swimming pool competition. That was something. Yeah.
How often do they hold the European Championships? Is it a yearly thing?
Yeah, it's bi-yearly. So, and it was the short course championships. I was by far better in short course than long course. But yeah, so it's bi-yearly, and then on the alternating years, it's the World Championship short course. So
Yeah.
they go opposite of that. Hmm.
And how did you get into swimming in Denmark? Because I feel like obviously for a lot of the year it's extraordinarily cold. So how's the pool situation there and how did you first get introduced to it?
So I think it's very common in Denmark to learn to swim because we're surrounded by water, and you don't. There's no places in Denmark where you have to drive maybe more than an hour, and then you're by the sea. So it's very common for parents to be like, your kid has to swim. You need to know how to survive if you get lost at the beach one day. So that was the motivation from my mom's side in the beginning, and then my swim coach at the kids swimming was telling me when I was 10 or 8 or 9 or 10, I think, saying, "Hey, we have this other branch of the club where you can enter events, like you can go to meets, you can compete." I was like, "That sounds fun. Let's try that." Then I found out I was quite good at it pretty fast, so I stuck around and I swam, gosh, so much, right? 10 sessions per week. It escalated to pretty fast, and then continued that for years, and I ended up stopping when I was 28. So that was sort of the stretch of it. Hmm.
Yeah. And what's the scene like for swimming in Denmark? Is it quite a lot of kids?
Mm.
Obviously, a lot of kids do it, but how many people compete at a sort of
Oof.
a national level?
I don't know how many are like in sort of membership of the federation or whatever, and how many competitive swimmers there are. But I do know that at the nationals, to turn up like 400 swimmers, I would say,
Okay.
usually at the nationals, and but they had to qualify to get there, right? So there's a lot more that swim, but yeah, I don't know how many swim, but a lot. I think it's pretty. They have a lot of pools. We have good access to long course pools just around like Copenhagen. If you take like Greater Copenhagen, I think there will be around 10 long course pools around here. So I know a lot of big cities in the world where that's not the case. So we're very lucky in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you stay with the same coach throughout your career, or did you swap around? What happened there?
So I actually stayed most of my career in the same club where I grew up, a little bit outside the city. And we changed coach, I would say, halfway through. So the first couple of years I had the same coach, and then I switched and got another coach. And then when it was time for him to step down, it was sort of also time for me to move a little bit away from that club and go abroad. So I went to Austria for a little bit. I've been to the United States and swam in Ohio State, not the school, but the club team there. So I'd say, and then I've been on training camps with other clubs from time to time, experienced different coaches. So and then through the national team. So I guess I've been in contact with a lot of different coaching styles.
Yes,
Yeah, of course you have your favorites.
of course. And what kind of coaching style do you respond best to, do you think?
um, Probably a bit uncommon in some sense. I had it was the second coach that I got at my club. For me, that was the perfect coaching style. It was very much about giving autonomy to the swimmer, and his end goal was saying, "You come here as a little kid that don't know how anything works in the swimming world, and the end goal should be that you could be your own coach." So through that, you not only need to learn how to swim fast, you also need to know what goes behind that whole process, why you're doing what you're doing, and learn how to make smart choices. And it's not always about being the one that trains the hardest. It's about being the one that trains the smartest.
Yes.
And there's a lot of things that go into that. We could probably have a whole podcast about that as well.
Absolutely. You're known as a top level breaststroker. And I mean, arguably, breaststroke is one of the most technical strokes of the four. What did you excel at in breaststroke that made you so good at it?
People listening are probably going to think that he's not a breaststroker when I say this, but it's probably my turns. So it was definitely the push off the wall and the underwater. That's also why I excelled more at short course. And I've probably done even better if I had done 25 yards instead of 25 meters. But there I could significantly feel that I got an edge on my competitors. But if the breaststroke itself, I would say power, like being able to use my head. I was definitely not leg dominant in my swimming. So that I know for sure. That's why I was lacking.
But if you were so good off the turns, you must have had a quite a bit of leg strength in that respect.
Sure, but maybe there was something in the my legs are also a little bit bigger, so I guess they'll die faster towards the end of the 100. That was usually the case. And then as soon as your arms are doing all the work in breaststroke, they can only do it for so long. It's a very hard thing to do. To swim that fast in breaststroke is very powerful.
Yeah. What's your top tip for being good at breaststroke?
That's definitely to if it depends on which level you're at, I would say. But in the beginning, it's about learning how to use that straight line of yours to glide. You should always extend as far as you can, so you end up in a straight line and get as much glide out of that as you can. And then as you progress through it, I would say that the most important part is to use your head, because that's the heaviest object that you can throw with when you're swimming. So when you use your head to get over the water and down in that streamline position, that's really it's like I don't know what that's called, but yeah, it's like a big weight that will sort of help you with the motion through the water.
Yeah, like a momentum of the head.
Momentum, yeah, thank you.
Moving you forward. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like in butterfly. It makes more sense to a lot of people to do that in butterfly, because the arms also coming in together with the head over the water. But it's just as much the case that you need to use your head in breaststroke.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
And I think the timing of breaststroke is also very hard for people to master.
Mm. Yeah, for sure. It is a very technical stroke, and I had a coach that said it's a strange stroke because you're trying to swim the fastest you can in the slowest possible way,
Yeah.
and that's really it's really the case, right? It's the slowest of the four strokes, but you're still trying to, and there's so much resistance that you can build for yourself. So it's about minimizing that as much as you can. It's really really a strange stroke in some senses.
I know. I'm absolutely terrible at breaststroke. I've got pigeon toes, so I find it really hard on my knees to turn my feet out.
It's the best part of being around a swim team. There's always those people in it that can't swim breaststroke to save themselves, and those are the funniest people to watch whenever there's IM on the program or something.
Well, it's very disheartening if you can't swim breaststroke doing an IM, because you might be pretty good at butterfly and backstroke, and then everyone just passes you on the breaststroke.
Yeah, it's always the case, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. And you mentioned that you spent some time in the US training. What club did you base yourself out of, and how did you find that experience?
So I went to Ohio State, an exchange program with my university here from in Copenhagen. And initially, I just walked up to the first coach I could see at the pool and said, "Hey, do you have space on the team?" And they did. It was the club team, because I couldn't be affiliated with the school because of the NCAA rules, and they're very strict. So when I was only there for half a year, I could only be with the club, but that was totally fine. I think we swam 6 times a week or something like that, if I remember correctly. Then I could do some extra stuff on the side, and that was perfect, while also focusing on going to university over there. And that was a really cool experience to be. They have amazing facilities, like big Olympic size pool, diving wells, 2 short course pools, and then like a 4 or 5 story gym area. It's crazy. It's really crazy.
That's
Like
amazing, isn't
kid in a
it?
can. It was like a kid in a candy store when I showed up. It's so great.
So did the racing that you did over there, was that all in yards?
Yeah, I did yards, and that was very difficult for me to adjust to. I remember doing a 200 breaststroke in yards, and all my turns were just like this. I couldn't get it to fit at all with the turn. So that took some adjustment, but I only did, I think, 1 or 2 competitions. I sort of I was very just shy of qualifying for Worlds before that. Short course, came and showed up, and then I swam there for like 5 months, and then I had like a month training camp down in Texas, and then I went back home to Denmark again.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And what made you hang up your bathers?
Sorry?
What made you hang up your bathers in the pool?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think swimming was it's very hard when you swim at that level to do other stuff. And I started this company with a friend and his uncle, and that sort of took over more and more of my time, and it was really difficult to continue swimming at that level while also wanting different things in life. So it was a priority, but I still love swimming, and if I could make more hours in a day, I would probably have extended it further than I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I know that you're training for a marathon swim coming up. Tell us a little bit about that. Where is it? How far is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I'm very nervous about it. I can preface with that. It's part of the Ultra Swim series. They're gonna host one event this year, and then their goal is to broaden it out so that I think in 2025 they'll have 8 events all around the world. But this one is the first, and it's a 33.3 kilometers event. So 333, and it's in Montenegro in end of September. And I've never entered a open water race before. It's my first. I think I've done one short triathlon with my club team in the past, where we swam maybe 1,000 or 1,500 in open water, but nothing like this. So I'm nervous about it, but it will also be a lot of fun. I think I'm part of this WhatsApp group where I can see people texting all their swim preparations, and people are very excited about it. So and I know it will be a lot of fun.
Wow, 33.3 kilometers is a long way for your first one. Is that a solo swim you're doing?
No.
No.
Okay, so I forgot to mention that. So it's over 4 days, which was, when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, then I can do it. Actually, it's possible for me. It would be similar to what I would do in practice, right? Back when I swam. So um, yeah, that makes it manageable. I don't think I would have entered if it was a 33 solo swim, just one straight line. It's going to be more like a stage swim. So I think some of the days we swim 3K, get out of the water, go somewhere else, swim another 3K or something, and then on the third day there's a 10K. So that's the longest straight line that we go. And some people want to in that 10K get, like, I think that's like a marathon event in swimming, and some people want to get that official time for that 10K, so they can't get any assistance during the open water swim, right?
Yeah, and
Still figuring out if I want to be part of it.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big one to be part of. Do they add up all the time? Add up all the times over the different parts, and then that's how they get their places?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Then there'll be a wetsuit category and one without wetsuit. So I still haven't figured out if I'm going to be in the wetsuit category or without one. I think I'm going to bring one and then see what the temperature's like, and then decide from there. It's all very new, right? I'm just going by advice from people, and I think I'm pretty confident in my preparations for that, but it's I don't know what to expect. Honestly, that's a little, it's not usually how I would go into a swimming competition, right? I know exactly what to do, and it's always the same amount of strokes from here to the turn and back, and I can plan my whole race. Can't plan anything for this one, so that's going to be a big no. Yeah, but I'll take it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting. Montenegro looks like a most beautiful place to go. So at least you'll have beautiful scenery to look at while you're swimming.
Right, but that's the whole goal for the Ultra Swim series. It's a race, yeah, but it's also an event that you go and you get to experience the nature from a cool perspective, and they planned it in such a way that you get to see different parts of Montenegro. So it's not just along the same shoreline that we're going to swim. We're actually going to get out and move to a different part so that we get to see some different bodies of water. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, it will be. So how have you approached the training? Obviously, it's different to the pool racing. Are you doing swims in the open water, or are you doing all your training in the pool? How's that work?
I've done a few sessions in open water. I'm going to do more and more from now on, but most of my swimming has been in the pool. The first thing I did was sign up with my local swim team, just for a habit, I guess. It was also just to keep me coming back. I think it's very easy for me to say that I'm busy with something else if I'm just training by myself. But if I'm there with a team, I have a time to show up. Feel that respect. Hey, I need to be there on time. I can't be missing it. So that helped me a lot in the beginning to get back into swimming. And then I think maybe my approach is a little bit different than someone that hasn't been swimming as much as I have. For me, it's about conditioning my shoulders again. They have been used to doing swimming like that, so it's not new for my body at all to do. But it's just about putting in some extra hours that I normally wouldn't be spending on swimming, and then gradually build up more and more resilience in your shoulders to swim freestyle for that long. I'm using pull buoys and paddles more than I would do when I was swimming breaststroke, but it's good, and I think I would be swapping out more and more in the practices that I go to of the breaststroke and IMs and backstroke and whatever, and just be, hey coach, can I please just do freestyle? The closer I get, and then more open waters as well. But I'm swimming around 3 times a week, 3 to 4. 4 is a really good week, and it's so funny. Whenever I did 4 sessions in the past couple of months here, I always thought, how could I do 10 when I used to do that? There's no time in the week to do that much. So I guess you just you get used to whatever it is that you're doing, right? And 4 right now seems like a lot of swimming for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, four is amazing, being able to fit that in with your work and family life and everything else that's going on. So I think that, that'll be really helpful in being successful in Montenegro.
I hope so. Let me tell you, there's some of those people in that group chat that I'm part of. All the people that are entering, we're part of the same group chat, and it's really, we've been for months. It's really cool. You get to meet all these people, and some of them are really, really strong, and they swim a lot more than I do. So they should be nervous too. Yeah.
And do you do any strength work on land, as well as in the water pool work?
Yeah. So before I signed up for this and started training for it, I would do basically 6 or 7 times a week in the gym. I just substituted all my swim training from when I was 28 with with gym training. So I did CrossFit, regular weightlifting. I also signed up for spin class to have spin class at my local gym. So anything that I could get my hands on at the gym, I would do. And it doesn't really make you a faster swimmer. I found that out when I started training for this event. So a little bit less of that and more swimming. That's sort of I think that's a healthy mix.
Yeah. And so with this ultra swim that you're doing, ultra marathon swim, do you think that you'll include that now in your yearly program? Can you see yourself doing more?
Let me get through this first one, and then I will be able to answer that.
You'll be able to say, yeah, obviously.
Let me wait and see how many nightmares I have after. No, I'm sure it will be a great experience, and again, it's like it's also that social component to it. It's going to be more than 100 people there that are going through the same thing. We're going to eat together every night after the swim, and it's going to be a 4-day event. It's going to bring people together. So I think that component of it is what can make me come back year after year, probably, and into more events. Because maybe. I've always been a little bit afraid of the open water, so maybe this is just gonna rip that Band-Aid off, and I'm gonna love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously it's very different to pool swimming, but I think it has its own joy that you get from it. And I think that I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Oh, 100%. I know I will. It will be cool.
Yeah. Let's have a bit of a chat about your success in the business world, because you're a co-founder of TheMagic5 goggles. How did that idea come about? And tell us a bit about you and the other co-founders.
Sure. So it came about back in 2017, maybe late 2016, where my friend Rasmus was my co-founder as well. He came to me and said, "What do you do with goggles?" He was this amateur triathlete, a friend of mine from university, and he asked me naturally because I was the best swimmer that he knew, and was like, "What do you do with goggles? I can't seem to find ones that fit. I'm here with my uncle, and he has the same problem. So how did you solve that?" And I said, "Well, I use these very, very cheap Swedish goggles. They don't have any padding on them. They're just hard plastic cups, and you have to assemble them yourself. And that's sort of how you make them fit your face, right?" And they both looked at me like that. They came from triathlon, where everything is like a new component for your bike, and it costs a lot of dollars, and they just didn't make sense. So we thought, okay, maybe there's something to this. Maybe you can do that in a smarter way. And started researching goggles, how to make them, went to China to see how you make goggles, and because that's where all the goggles in the world are made, and quickly found out that we could do a better job. I think it didn't scare us, at least, the way that it all happened. And I also found out that not really a lot has happened with goggles since they were first invented in the 60s. It's pretty much the same thing with the strap and some sort of plastic to cover your eyes. And it's we just thought we could do a better job in that. And we found out that you needed to sort of capture data of people's faces if you want to make something that actually fits. It can't just be a one size fits all that you take down from the shelf and hand to the customer. So we developed this scanning technology where you scan your eye socket, make a 3D model shape of your eye socket, and then we custom produce a pair of goggles and ship them to the customer.
Yeah, it's an amazing sort of story and amazing technology, having sort of robotics involved in it as well. So do you have a robotics machine that you produce them all in?
Yeah, we have seven, actually. Seven
Wow.
robots. Yeah, it's a small robot. It's not a big humanoid robot with arms and legs. It's a small standard what do you say, production robot. It can be programmed to do a lot of different tasks. It's from a Danish company. It's called Universal Robots, and it wasn't on purpose that it was a Danish company. It just happens that they actually produce the robots that we need right in our backyard. So you can program it to do a lot of different things. It sort of has 7 joints that you can make it move freely in 3D space. And then we started coding. And usually when you work with robots in a production setting, you do it because you want to automate a task and do it the same thing over and over and over again. And they're very good at that job. They're very good at doing stuff like that. But what we want to do is to make the robot move slightly different for each customer, because it's going to make a unique set of swimming goggles. And that's really what makes our company unique, in the way that we use robotics to make a unique movement pattern each time.
Yeah. So do you need to put in a unique code every single time, and that comes from the face scan?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So everything that happens behind that, and that's our Coca-Cola recipe, right? That's like how to fit the goggle on your face, how the algorithm that we created to sort of make sure that the 3D model of the goggle fits with the 3D model of your eye socket. That whole thing is complicated, and that's what has taken us years to nail. And I think it's only improving with the more and more face scans that we get. And we'll be able to say, well, now there's another customer coming in, has some similar facial features to you, Danielle, and then that would do a better job. If the algorithm knows that you're happy with your goggles, they will do a better job of finding a good fit for that new customer. So it's a work in progress, and it's really great to get the feedback from all the people that use the product, to be able to continuously improve upon it.
Yeah. And did you all have a background in technology and coding?
No, so I'm me and my friend Rasmus. We studied international business and politics. If I should have gone with what interests me most, I should have studied maybe math or coding or something computer science. I think that would have fit me very well. But no, I studied politics and business. And then the third co-founder, Bo, he is an engineer. So it's really him that knows how to code a robot. I know how to wear swimming goggles. So there's sort of a good fit there. And we've had, a lot of talks about how to do it. But it's honestly, it's coded by him, and it's very, very smart.
Yeah. Oh, it's a real collaboration, which I think is a really great idea. And as you said earlier, being part of a team is what makes things like that really exciting. So it must be wonderful to work with your friend and his uncle. And is there another co-founder as well?
There's us 3. Yeah.
3. Yeah. Yeah. And so
and I couldn't have imagined to do it alone. It would, and I don't think any of us could. We have so different qualities, different ways of looking at things. And it's not that other people's companies are not complicated, but of course they are. But we could have made a much simpler company, just doing drop shipping from one destination to another, or we could have taken out a lot of. We really decided to do everything with this company, from production to customer service, manufacturing. Like it's and then we sell all over the world as well. So it's I think we took in a lot from the beginning and said we're going to do all these things, and having to do that alone, I think that would have been impossible.
That would be a huge job, to do that all by yourself. So it's great that you've got each other to rely on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I was just watching it before, but I think I saw it when it was initially out. You went on Shark Tank, the US Shark Tank, which I love that show, and presented your pitch. So how did you decide which two of you went on, and how did you work on that pitch behind the scenes?
So I think if we could have decided, it would have been all three of us that went, but unfortunately it was during COVID that they shot it, so I was not allowed to travel. My two co-founders lived in America. We have Rasmus lived in New York and Bo lived in North Carolina, where the production was set up and all that. So it was easier for them to travel to the studios and do that. But I had to stay home. But I was obviously still very much a part of it, and we practiced that pitch, I would say, 50 times, something like that. Everything from how you move your hands to the way that you say the words with your Danish accent. And it was just, it has to be, you get 90 seconds and you don't get 92, right? It's TV. So it's like you get 90 seconds to prepare a pitch. We hired someone to help us because none of us are naturally good on TV. We haven't had a lot of media training, and it's different to present your company in front of the sharks compared to what you would do in a regular investor setting, where you're talking to someone on a Zoom meeting and you have tons of time. There's a lot more questioning happening outside that 90-second pitch that you see on TV and the little bit back and forth for a couple of minutes. There's a lot more that doesn't go into the episode, right? But it is a lot faster than a regular investor meeting would be. Right?
Yeah. And I mean, they loved the innovation of the idea, and they were all fighting over getting you on board. And you ended up going with Robert, but Mark Cuban came on later onto the program. So you've got both of them helping you, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so Mark Cuban approached him after. If you watch the show, you can also see that he seems a little bit sour at the end. He didn't get to be part of it, and he approached Robert after and said, "Don't you want us? Can we split it?" And then they decided to split the deal, getting half of it each, and also paying half of the money each. And we've been very happy with both of them, having them part of the team. It's been a huge help. They have a whole team that helps them with the investments, and that team is really brilliant. They know a lot, so it's up to the company to really utilize those skills that they have, because they have a lot of smart people working for them, and it's been helpful.
Yeah. So do they help you on a day-to-day basis, or is it just sort of like an overview type situation?
It's really what you want and how closely you want to work with them, and what your needs are. You can get it's not like they go in and take over your customer service, but if they have an idea, let's say in customer service, of how to improve it, they will be analyzing it with you and looking through it and giving you pointers on what to think about. We've used them in a lot of ways with search optimization. Search engine optimization, so making sure that we rank higher on Google. They know a lot about that type of stuff, and instead of going out and us buying that knowledge from an agency somewhere, they've just been sharing it, and that's been very helpful. So it's really like having a partner instead of an agency that you need to go through all the time.
Yeah, that must be amazing to have that kind of help and feedback. Because I know myself with this podcast, search engine optimization is what everyone says you need to do, but I really don't have much of an idea of how to do it. So having that advice would be lovely.
Yeah, but there's people that it's their job 24/7, right? That's what they do.
Yeah.
It's a complicated thing, and it's always evolving how to do that. And then the sad part of it is also takes really a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
Not only takes time to work with it, but it also takes time for it to work for you whenever you have made changes. It's not like Google will be like, well, good job, Danielle. Tomorrow you're going to rank number one. It's going to take months, right, before you actually see the fruits of your labor in that world. And it's just there's so many things that you need to do when you're a startup company, right? And if someone could come in and help you with some of those things and make smart choices from the beginning, so you don't have to make mistakes, as many mistakes as you otherwise would, it's very helpful.
Yeah. So their focus has been more on that kind of thing rather than the product itself. They don't give much overview on that because that's all set.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all set. And I also don't know if they are. I mean, they've asked questions, right? They're like, why are you not doing it like this, or is there a smart way to do this, or whatever? And they're challenging us for sure on the product as well. But that's not really. Yeah, it's more like driving the business, and it's sort of the skills that you could have applied to our company, but you could also apply to a different company in the Shark Tank setting. I think Mark Cuban has invested in more than 100 companies through Shark Tank, and they all have a lot in common, right? Being small companies trying to scale. So it's more that aspect of it that they'll give you a lot of feedback on.
Yes. And when you've got a new product like the Magic 5 goggles, not only do you have to do everything you've been talking about, but you sort of have to build a community around it. So how have you sort of managed to do that? Like how do you sort of build that community in the swimming world?
Yeah, good question. I'm so happy actually to work with my wife, Christina. She runs all of our social media platforms, so Instagram, Facebook. We have this community group on Facebook for all the people that have the goggles. Try to share knowledge around swimming. I think it's a difficult task to create a strong sort of connection in the swimming world. I think there's not a lot of people doing it, such as yourself. But it's a tough task. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's swimming is sometimes unless you're on a swim team, it can be sort of a lonely thing. I don't know what it is about it, but the way that we have sort of attacked it is through social media mostly, and generate a following there. We share on emails. We share stories from the community. So the people that use the goggles, what are they up to? We have such a diverse group of people using the product, and it's been fun for me to see what are all the things that they're doing, whether it's a ultra swims event somewhere or there's so many things that come to mind of people that use the product that I can't really pick one, but yeah, it's just about sharing their stories, showing that swimming can be so much different, and it can be a lot of different things to a lot of different people. For me, it was one thing; it was pool swimming, but there's people that don't do pool swimming at all. They would rather swim in cold climates or do the free diving or whatever it is.
Yeah. And is the goggle going to be the only product that you do, or are you branching out into, you probably can't tell me company secrets, but are you branching out into other different parts of the swimming world?
So we have the goggle product in swimming is we have debated so much about what do we want to do with this technology, because it lends itself to the ability, like you can scan other body parts, you could do other fits for the eye area as well without saying too much. You can it's about picking up the phone, scanning something on your body, and then fitting a product to that. Where do we want to take that? That's been the big question. I would say if we stick to swimming, we'll soon be coming out with a lot of swim accessories. I think we realized that just having the goggles it's not really communicating the brand enough to people. You have to actually go up to a person and ask and say, where is those goggles from? And that's really, from a business standpoint, that's not really the best way to do it. Although that does happen. And I'm also now seeing the goggles when I go to the pools around the world. So that's cool. But we're coming out with a pool buoy, kickboard, snorkel, paddles, like everything that you would need to train at your pool. And that's going to be exciting. But I think for the technology point, until you get people to want to scan themselves full body, half in the nude, then I think we can't really make swim swimwear. That's going to be a hurdle to cross.
Yeah, I can imagine. So
Exactly.
the paddles and the pool buoy and the snorkel, are they going to be custom fit, or are they just a generalized one?
Generalized ones.
Generalized, yeah.
It's people are allowed to make all that custom, but I also think it has to be a real value add if it is custom. And to me, at least, a lot of those products don't need to be custom to the same extent that a swimming goggle would. I think for a lot of people, swimming goggles make sense. They've had experiences with bad fitting goggles. And I think whenever we introduce that feature to a new product, it has to make sense logically for people to want to pay a little bit extra premium to go and get a custom pair. So I would say the next product that we do that uses that probably doesn't have that much to do with swimming.
Okay.
Yeah, can't say more than that.
Say no more. Okay, I don't want you to have to give away secrets. Can I ask you some questions to give us a bit of a snapshot about your swimming? I always call it the deep dive. So it just gives us a bit of you can answer it any way you wish, but just gives us a bit of an idea about your past swimming career. So what's your favorite pool you've ever swum in?
Well, that has to be the pool that they built here in Copenhagen for European Championships that I talked about in the beginning.
Yeah, what's the name of it?
Beautiful. Well, it was called Royal Arena.
Yes.
That's the name of the multi-purpose arena. I think 2 days later they hosted a concert in that arena. So it's you can't go swim there; it doesn't exist anymore. But it was very beautiful for that week that it did exist. Yeah, that was my favorite pool ever, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. And what about a pool that does exist that you also like?
So people can actually go to.
Yes.
That's good. Yeah. It's a good question. I would say in Marseille, it's a really cool pool down by the ocean. I think it's pretty similar to the one you have in Australia as well. Is it at where is that actually? Is that Bondi Beach? Something where you have this?
Yeah, Bondi icebergs. Yes. Yeah, right on the edge of the ocean.
Exactly. They have that same thing in Marseille. It's just a little bit easily accessible for me coming from Denmark.
Of course.
So, but that's it just gives a nice contrast, right? You have that ocean right there and the waves coming in. Looks beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. How about your favorite open water swimming location?
Well, it's probably going to be Montenegro. But here in Denmark, I like to go to the local lake that I had close by me when I was a kid. It's called Furesø. It's the deepest body of water in Denmark. It's 33 meters. Remember that Denmark is completely flat, right? So that's but it's a decent sized lake. Water is nice. You gotta catch it before it gets too warm, then it fills up with algae. But it's a really, really nice place. Calm.
Sounds beautiful. And how about your favorite breaststroke training drill?
Favorite breaststroke training drill? Probably with fins on, swimmers, and then fly kick with the breaststroke arms.
Nice.
Gives you that rhythm.
Yes. How about your favorite training set?
4 times 100 freestyle at threshold. So not killing yourself at all, starting 140 I would usually do. And then after that, I move into 4 times 50 of 1 easy, 1 all out, 1 easy, 1 all out. And those are on 1:30, so with decent rest in between. And I do that set 4 times.
Whoa.
And then each of the 50s, in the first round, I would do fly. Second round, I would do backstroke. Then I would do breast, and then I would do freestyle on the last. It's a long set. It's very hard, but that was my. If I know exactly all the times that I would usually do in that set, short course, long course, and I know what would be a good sort of. I would always do it a little bit out from the competition before I would have my sort of taper, right? And I would know what would be good times to go into the competition with, and I would also sometimes do it more than once in a training cycle, and it's a good workout.
Yeah, that sounds like a hard one. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And tell me your 3 favorite breaststrokers from all of swimming history.
3 favorite breaststrokers. I like Cameron Vandenberg. I met him a couple of times. He's a very nice guy, and I raced him a couple of times as well. And he was really good right around the time when it was before Adam Peaty really came and destroyed everyone. Then I really looked up to the way that he swam. His breaststroke was really smooth. Then of course Adam Peaty, very aggressive, and I think that's where a lot of people can see what you can actually do with sort of your head and timing your breaststroke, because he has a lot of power, right?
Yes.
The way that he swims, and he's able to sustain it much better than any other swimmer out there. And then the third one is a good question. I would say someone that I've admired, but that's also because I don't know how she swims like that, is Rikke Møller from Denmark. She had the world record in the 200 breaststroke long course, and she did 2:19:11 or 13, 2:19:11, I think. Yeah, it was really, really fast. And seen her in practice, she just she was so much faster than me in a 200, right? And it's all leg dominated and perfect glide, and just a really, really good athlete. And standing on the sideline, being so close to her, being able to see her, how she trains and all that, is an inspiration. And I think just very, very different from the way that I would move myself forward in breaststroke. And it's always good to get a different perspective on it, because there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat, right? And
That's
especially
true.
breaststroke, there's so many different ways that you can end up with the same result.
I like those answers. Yeah. Well, Niklas, thank you so much for being on our podcast today and giving us a bit of an insight into your swimming journey and a little bit about the Magic5 company. We'll put the links to Magic5 in the show notes so people can check that out if they want to go and have some great custom fit goggles.
Thank you, Danielle. It was a fun talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, take care and good luck with the swim coming up.
Thank you.